Welcome to Straight Outta Savannah. My guest, Jeremy McDonald, is here to share who he is, what he does, and how he can help you. Jeremy, take it away.
Thank you, Tammi, for having me. It's an honor to be here on your show. So I have been, I guess the best way to put in 90 seconds or less to tell you, I've been in the corporate world and the spiritual world for the past 28 years. So I've coached executives and managed learning and development departments for banks and that kind of stuff. But at the same time, I was also learning the healing world, shamanic healing, reiki, Qigong, and I consider myself a quantum healer. I help people get down to those small little energies within the energy body that are blocking us in our life. And so what I mean by that is what we store that energy within us, and subconsciously it's still running within our psyche. You ask me to come along and I help you dive and hold space for you and expand the energy so that we can heal that. And then you can start seeing significant changes in your life. And so that's why I wrote the new book, Sovereign Mindset, Unlocking Your Divine Potential, because it's helping you expand your energy so that you can grow into that fabulous being that you already are.
Explain how you got here.
Oh, that's a good question. I was born to two teenage parents. One of my parents moved away when I was one, that sense of abandonment in my psyche. And so that followed me for many years and kept on. What I learned that when you start to think something and feel, more importantly, feel something, the universe is there to try to prove you right. If you think you don't have value, it's going to try to prove you right. If you think you deserve the best, it's going to prove you right. I started watching and observing the world. I had great mentors and people in my life. It seemed like the universe was dropping cool nuggets in my lap, and I just wasn't fully appreciating it. How I got here is, honestly, the universe was kicking my butt all the way until one day I finally said, I give up. I'm here. I knew what I wanted to do. I knew what made me happy. I love teaching, training, motivating people, and helping people heal. I realized I had to heal myself first, which is the first step in Reiki, right?
Yes.
Heal a healer, heal thyself. We hear those words, but we don't fully understand what that means until you start your own healing. It's been a long process, but one of the best things I've ever done in my life.
I am my first client.
Yeah.
This is how I think about this stuff. I'm working on me. And as I work on me, I can help the next person. I want to know that this stuff works. I don't want to just be spouting off like some of these people I've done stuff with before. I don't want to be doing that.
And do you notice the more you work on yourself, you'll see it in other people.
Yeah.
So then when you have a client sitting in front of you, there's a part of you that's got, I know where you're at because I've been there. It may not be the same exact story, and the energy is the same.
Yes.
And so you'll be like, okay, this person's not valuing themselves, repeating the same relationship, job, situation. So you have to get them to start valuing themselves.
Yes. You didn't know I wrote a book about that subject you just talked about.
No, I didn't.
In the book, I said, it's called Why Do I Keep Choosing the Wrong Partner? And you keep doing it because it's the energy. You have types. You put yourself in boxes with these types. You like them tall, dark, handsome, short, blonde, curly hair.
Yep.
Put yourself here and get this one. And that one is wonderful. Next thing you know, you guys are arguing and she done both took the kids and blah, blah, blah. And you get the next one. One.
Yep. I was in prayer once and I said, God, I like them to look like this and like them to look like this. And I heard pause. I was like, pause. And I heard, you don't think I don't know what you're physically attracted to? Tell me what you really want. I've been around you since the beginning. Tell me your heart's desire.
What do you want?
And I was like, well, at first you're taken back because you're like, what do you mean? Because we just think physical. I want them to honor and respect me. I want somebody to match my energy and have intimacy with me on a level that is not necessarily sexual, but soulful moments where you're sharing and trusting, and the rest works out. When it comes to law of attraction, I'll say, it'll be nice if I did this, or if I go to this book signing, so it'd be nice if I made this kind of way. I have an abundance mindset where I know that it's going to be that or better.
Yeah.
And so with romance, I know when I'm single right now, but when the time comes, whatever's going to come in is going to be knock my socks off.
That's
And
exactly how you should be.
Yeah.
And I tell you, I did write down what I wanted.
Yeah.
The first thing was somebody to love me. coming out of a divorce
Mm-hmm.
from a man that did not know how to love me.
Yeah.
And
Because he did not love himself.
I wrote a book about that too.
Oh.
But my first thing was, I want somebody to love me. I said, I want him to love God. Because if he loves God, God will show him how to love me. And that is exactly what I have. He's checked all the boxes, except he does not like sports. I was okay with that.
As long as we have 2 TVs. Or they have to like the Buccaneers, Tampa.
No, he'll watch boxing and I think wrestling or something. I'm like, those are not real, that's not sports. I'm like, no, football. I was my daddy's first boy.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I laugh. All of my sisters and I watch sports.
I've always wanted somebody that shares this healing world with me, or at least that I don't have to explain it to. I've had to explain some of that world to people, and it's like you're talking Greek to them. I can't share my life with them. I was always a fixer, trying to fix people. That's why we repeated the same patterns over and over again. And so
you probably were captain.
Yeah.
I had to tell my son to lay down that cape. He was Captain Sabo. I said, because you can't save them hoes.
I got you. Yeah, you're right. Trying to save them.
Yeah, well, finally he stopped. I was it was scary. It's like you find somebody wounded and no.
And 2, because there's something in you that's wounded. What I've found is that, and then everybody thinks, what happened to you that make you feel? And they think it's like your upbringing. I had an awesome mom. If there was a mom lottery before you came into this life, I won it.
So you chose wealth.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean you didn't come in with baggage. The father that moved away, was it his fault? No, he was a teenager. And all those times I was 6 foot tall when I was 12, getting picked on as a kid, all those things add up. But what I also realized is I'm getting ready to turn 52, and I thought, I'm gonna, thank you. I appreciate that.
I say it like the youngsters. You look for 52.
I appreciate that. It hits you like age 40, 45, or 50. I'm a 51, almost 52-year-old man. That doesn't have to affect me anymore. It's a part of who I am. And with that being said, I no longer have to hold on to those hurts.
Right.
Learn from them, gain wisdom, but I don't have to let it rule me anymore. One of my favorite subjects is past lives. I laugh because people say, I was burned at a stake in the 1500s. And I'm like, but that was the 1500s. It's 2026 now. And you're not that same person. You are that same soul. You're not the same person. There's therapy for those things, healers and coaches, but you can't bring your victimhood like 500 or 600 years into the future. It's just not a thing. You know what I'm talking about. I don't really hold back.
I could see that whole image.
Because that's what happens too. They go, oh, I was burned, or I'm like, I'm sorry that happened. There is therapists that specialize in past lives, or coaches that are healers. I had all that too. Everybody has hurt and trauma. So, or my other one favorite was that I'm an empath. I have trouble feeling all the energy. I'm like, learn how to ground yourself. I was on a big podcast a few years ago, and I got all these emails that said, can you help me to on the body? I was like, you need to learn how to stay in your body first. People get caught up in the cool parts of metaphysics, but they don't understand the hard work it took you and I to get where we're at. And the still hard work that's there.
They used to say in the church, they see your glory, but they don't know your story.
Yes.
This is what, but you don't know what is behind all of this. You know, what drives a person, and that is the most amazing thing.
And be proud that you've taken that journey of healing and the things you've faced because of who you become today. My first book talks about the things I did in my 20s and in my 30s, the partying, the drugs, and everything else I did. And would I ever want to go back there? Absolutely not. But that makes me who I am today. Would I change what I did in the past? Absolutely not either. So it was called growing up.
And the thing is, you don't live with regrets.
You have to have grace and understanding and forgiveness of yourself just as much as other people, and compassion.
Yeah, I actually did a video years ago, a Facebook Live, probably gone, but it was like, you are your first love.
Yeah.
And I was like, so many of you, I was talking to ladies, I was like, you don't realize that. You're so busy trying to love outside, you don't realize you are your first love.
I do a meditation where I walk people through a first meeting somebody, and then they get up to that moment. It's a year of dating, and they finally pull back that veil, or they see that man or whatever it is, and they realize that they're looking at themselves.
Oh, wow.
They're getting ready to marry themselves.
That is
No, you'll see tears rolling down people, men and women. What have they been looking for? Somebody that gets them, understands them, and really sees the core of who they are. See that in yourself first, like you mentioned earlier. When you really see that and you get okay with being by yourself when it's time for somebody to share that space, it's two whole people
yes.
that have come together. Now, I don't necessarily have the partner, but I have friends. It's like we're this community of people working together because we've grown together.
Yeah.
Isn't that what we're looking for? We're looking for that sense of belonging. We have to find it in ourselves first.
Most of the time, I've talked to ladies that jumped out of one relationship and jumped right back into another. I don't think it was 30 days. And I said, you haven't had time to heal. It was a long-term relationship. She introduced me to the new man. The next thing I know, they got married. Didn't last.
I could tell you stories, but some crazy ones I've heard. And usually I'm like, this person's paying me, so I can't. That's too crazy. But I'll be like, what are you thinking?
You're like, you did what?
And they're like, oh my God, but I love him or her. I told a client over the summer, they were like, but I love him. I'm like, no, you don't. They love me. No, they don't. Because they don't love themselves. I said, you're codependent. There's a difference. You're just filling a void. You haven't done the work on yourself. And the tears started because they knew I was right. I get it because I've done the same things. And so and you've done the same thing. When you finally realize there's more to life than living in these situations, it's not just about partnerships or romance. It's about the jobs we've been in, the friends we've had, situations, the churches I've been a part of. And
Yes, all of that.
And then you realize I don't have to have that. My mother said to me when I was really young, she says, when you get older, you're going to be able to count on one hand the amount of close friends. You'll have a lot of acquaintances and you'll care about those acquaintances. She goes, you'll count on one hand the people that are your close friends. What she called your ride or dies.
Yeah.
And I had another friend tell me about that many years later, and I didn't fully get it until my friend said it to me years later. It's something just clicks in your brain when somebody says it again. And what I started doing is investing not only in myself, but in the people that were always there.
Yeah. I was going to say, that thought just went away.
Happens. I was at a meeting earlier today. I was like, I can't remember what I was going to say, but I'll figure it out and I'll text you later.
Exactly. But I was going to ask you a question. How did you, when you started on this process, how did you integrate your other life?
You mean the corporate and spiritual? It's funny you should ask that. I started working as a psychic at a place called the Seventh Heaven Psychic Cafe in Ybor City, Florida. So it's just a part of Tampa. And I was probably 25 years old and I was reading drunk people, but it would be couples coming in. And I would do that on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I would go to work Monday through Friday. For many years, I had some really cool jobs and worked for some really cool places. And with that being said, they were messed up places too. And I started thinking, like, God, why are you putting me in all these places? Well, one day it hit me. I'm one of the very few people in this world that I can actually manage large scale projects and use my intuition and use my gut. Yeah. And because I was in learning and development and managed training departments, I know the dynamics of how people learn. So I got my master's degree in adult education. Now I'm doing event planning and building events. Not only I'm doing the same thing I did in corporate America, but now I get to do it in our world. If I wouldn't have had during COVID running a distance learning program, I wouldn't have been able to build the online summits. If I had to learn from one company how to build subscription plans for their subscription business, I wouldn't be able to build it for my own business and help others people do it. And so I get to do, so it made me realize everything that has happened to you up to this point has happened for a reason. And the old saying that you have to be grateful for where you're at right now, I was like, of course, thank you so much. One of those companies paid for most of my college. Finally hit me that God was lining me up for the perfect life, everything I was looking for. That's why I started saying divine timing, divine order, divine plan, make it easy. Sometimes I say, God, I know you got my back, so I don't need to worry. This is just, Tammy, it just happens all the time. I know it happens for you too, and the people watching, or listening. And so I just, the other day, I did a book signing and spoke at a church the night before. I said, it's nice if I made about $400 tomorrow. Some people say, well, why does it have to be about money? I'm like, because that electric bill comes in every month and that car payment and stuff.
You can't tell them that they'll let you put it on layaway.
And then I say, it's playing with God. It says to be bold in your prayers. I made $390. So am I going to be mad about that $10 short? No. It's $390 more than I had the day before. And it's about that abundance, living in both worlds. If I wanted a promotion or a raise or something new, I had experiences where I would lay down and say, it's time for me to leave this job now. I know you'll take care of me. Within 24 hours, I had a call from a woman I applied with 9 years prior. Are you looking for a job right now? And she didn't hire me for that job at the Florida Department of Transportation. She just happened to remember me. Tell me that's not
God.
And then another time I went to work for a friend and he says, I'm going to take your salary away and give it to somebody else. I just happened to get money dropped in from a fund I had when I was 18 years old. So I had money that would have supported me for 7 or 8 months. And then I go, God, if I'm supposed to go back to work, make it easy for me. Within 45 minutes, I got a call from a recruiter from a resume from 3 years prior, and I became the training manager of that company for 3 years. I work for the greatest CEO in the galaxy. His name is God. God to me is goodness over doubt. It's the goodness in you that overcomes the doubt in you. The temple of God is within. I just stopped worrying about where I'm at and I put in my order. I call it my order. It'll be cool if we stop, if I didn't do this anymore. I started doing more of this. And then it says, ask and you shall receive. Now, does it mean it's going to happen in the next 5 minutes? Sometimes. Sometimes I have to be prepared for that. I know God's got my back. If you asked me that 20 years ago, I'd be like, you got that intellectually. But I've had too many times where God did have my back.
I said one day I realized I was an unbelieving believer.
Yeah.
I realized I didn't, because I jumped up and down, ran around the church, I did backflips on the pulpit, and I thought, okay. Then I realized one day, I don't really believe God can do this. It just hit me this one thing.
Remember, the prodigal son comes back and the other son gets jealous. The father welcomes him with open arms because he loves his son. And his love for this son is no more than the other son. What that told me is we go off on this journey and do, let's be real, sometimes really dumb stuff. I'm not being judgmental, but when you think about it, some of the things I did, I'm not even sure why I'm a liar some days.
And you know where it's dumb stuff when you get it.
Yeah. With that being said, knowing all those things, hindsight is 2020, that I didn't value myself then. Once you value yourself, you start becoming more in alignment with God. If the temple of God is within you, why clutter the temple with garbage of not valuing yourself? I've been standing on stage and say it with me. You are divine royalty. You are princes and princesses of the largest royal family in the galaxy. You're a child of God. It says we're children of God. It doesn't say that we're children of God. Don't go and say, oh, woe's me, everything sucks. Honoring that temple is saying, thank you. You have grace, and yes, you have humility, and you're humble and stuff like that. But humble and humility doesn't mean you're less than. It means that you don't put other people down and that you don't boast about who you are. You just know who you are. And so
the thing is, that is a lot of the connotations that people got from.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. They do. And so when I say these things, and in our kind of churches, everybody's in agreement. But I've also spoken at the Christian churches that they're like, thank you. That was very interesting. And I never get invited back. It's okay because my job is to speak my truth. Maybe it sparks something in somebody, but it's not up to me to heal them. It's up to them to take the information and grow in their own life. So when you think about the throat chakra, if I hold back, then I'm blocking up my energy in my body.
Yes.
And I'm disempowering my own self. I'm becoming my own slave master, my own prisoner, and I'm not going to do that anymore. Not at 51. It's just not happening.
Well, I made that decision, but I'm 57.
You look good, because I was
Thank
thinking you were
you.
younger than me.
No, been in it a while. I tell people good genes.
There you go. I have a client that's 56. She said, I'm a pre-senior citizen. I said, you could be fired as a client.
My eye doctor told me middle age is like puberty. People be
Okay.
going from 12 to 22. So middle age is around 40. My eyes are bothering me. I'm having headaches. Went in and had to get a prescription. He said, welcome to middle age. I'm like, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, I have had that. My doctors told me, you're not as young as you used to be. She goes, you do too much. But I like what I do and my work. I get to connect with people like you and have good
Yes.
conversations. I would like to see people, and I give this to my clients every time they first meet with me. You have to spend 5 minutes looking in the mirror, right into your eyes, and saying you love yourself. About 60 to 70% of people do not do that homework past one day, because it makes it feel, they're like, it just feels so awkward. It's so uncomfortable. I was
It's
like, yeah,
beautiful.
because you spent your entire life criticizing yourself, putting yourself down, and cluttering it with everything other than loving yourself.
Yes. This has been an amazing conversation. It's hard for me to come down because the energy is so high. Let me ask you that last question.
Yeah.
If there was anything in the world you could change, what would that be and why?
I'd want to help people open their hearts. When the heart is open, you see the world on a new level. You see the pain, but you also see their innocence. You get to see their joy, their how they love,
Yes.
and you stop worrying about details and would never harm another person because they're similar to you. We may look different on the outside, but we all bleed the same. We all cry the same. We
Yeah.
all feel pain the same way. And if your heart is open, you never want to harm another person. And you'd want to mutually grow together and grow our planet. That's what I would do. I would touch people's hearts.
I love that. I don't think I've gotten that one in over 200 interviews. So I asked all my guests because it's interesting to see people's perspectives on what they want to change in the world.
We're seeing a lot of change in the world, but we'll see where we're at in 5 years. I keep praying every day. So we'll see.
I just tell people, because I hear people that they feel so hopeless. And I just tell people to just have hope. It's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. It's not the first time we've been here. Probably won't be the last.
A lot of great change happens through chaos.
Yes, and that is what I was told to be last year. And I kept it to myself. I told my husband. I waited to tell him. Cause don't say you gotta process it.
Yep. I get it. You have to bring it into the physical. So
I gotta process this. I can't figure this out. Not like this. So let people know the best place to connect with you and your book, where they can get it and that kind of thing.
yeah, my book is called The Sovereign Mindset: Unlocking Your Divine Potential. You can get it on Amazon, Barnes and Noble. But the best place is my website. It's jeremymcdonald.net. And so it's basically my name, .net. It is my name and .net. And so you find links to the books. I have courses and all my social media. The best way to connect with me is through my website. So
Honestly, this was a great conversation. Jeremy's energy is fire. I'm almost hot, and I am in Washington and it's cold.
many blessings for having me. I really do appreciate it.
It's just been such an amazing conversation. I took a break from this show for about the last quarter of last year. I couldn't figure it out at first. Normally, I have a good flow of guests. I put out a post and people show up or whatever. And so all of a sudden, I was dry. But I even had people that I reach out to from time to time and say, hey, or they tell me later or whatever. That will be. And then I heard, it's time for you to rest. So I did. I put it down. I didn't do interviews, didn't do anything. People still said, "God, every time I look, you're there." And I'm like, I have days where I flip my phone down. Social media, I don't do anything. I'm like, no, I can't. I don't want to do it. It's still a refuge for me because I needed that time of rest and rejuvenation. There was a lot going on,
Got to take your break. And the spirit that says lay down, you rest.
Yes.
And you follow that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Understand. So.
My love, I appreciate you and I'll be in touch with you. His social media and all the details and stuff will be in the show notes. So you can look for those. If you see them on Substack, or on YouTube. And you'll be able to hear him on all the places, Apple, Google, wherever people listen to podcasts.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You are so welcome. I have had such great pie.